crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Version every tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All right. Good morning. Good night. Good evening to everyone out there. I hope everybody is doing well, given the circumstances. Some people are doing better than others, but, I can't help but to understand and know that there's a lot of people that's doing a lot less better, and could possibly be doing a lot worse pretty soon. And don't expect trolls to tell you. According to trolls, everything is perfectly fine. Everything's better, matter of fact, better than ever. United States, go. But since I'm not a troll, I actually do really care about my country. And it's really fucked up. I mean, believe it or not, being an American citizen, living outside of the U.S., you do miss your home from time to time. You maintain your relations. I mean, I got loads of my close friends from childhood, from teenagehood, from, young adult, from adulthood in the U.S. right now, in New York, in D.C., in Chicago, in, other parts of the country too. And they let me know how shit is going on. Maryland, Virginia, they let me know how things are really looking on the ground. Now, smart people don't usually do a whole lot of telecommunicating.
in detail about stuff, but especially on their social media platforms, a lot of Americans are scared to say things on the social media platforms. The United States is locking up journalists, things like this. It's actually really, really a sad day. And that's why I do what I do because, hey, man, first of all, I love my country. I love my town where I come from, Washington, D.C. I've seen these people defile the Capitol building. And quite frankly, you ain't going to shut me up. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck JD Vance because they are criminals and everybody along with them. So fuck you. Now, sorry to say that to start it off, but that's the easiest way to make it clear to anybody who is listening. I believe these people are criminals. 100% criminals and have horrible intent for the United States of America and have always had horrible intent. So that's how I'm going to open up my little podcast today. Thank you for joining me. Now, yesterday I got a little triggered actually because, since my ethnicity is that of the Such, which is American, and it goes back to the colonial period of the United States. And I've had family members that have fought in every war the United States has been involved in since its conception. You know, people that have been civil service, worked for different parts, teachers, police, la la la, on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on. Um, I hate what I'm seeing today. Yes, an American should feel a little bit messed up when you know that people who really apparently have no respect for the country at all, I mean, now don't get me wrong, I could understand why some people, if you were a slave, if your family dealt with slavery and you didn't get any reparations, you've never had a Congress to really deal with reparations. I can understand how you could be a little like, damn, what's up with my country? When is my country going to recognize, the generational poverty that some of us have been put in due to that? I could understand that. But what I can't understand is a person who hasn't gone through slavery, who hasn't been a slave, whose descendants have been free, actually be so fucking angry to defile the Capitol, to take a shit in the Capitol. I will never understand that. I will never understand why a person like Donald Trump, a second or third generation American, would come to the United States and even think to remove and destroy the East Wing of the White House. I will never understand that. I will never understand that. And perhaps that's just because of the type of American I am. I would never do it. I would never think to do it. There's always good and there's always bad. And that's what struggle is in every country in many ways, no matter who you are and what you are. But I will never understand anything about how this administration moves, how these insurrectioners move, what they're all about. I will never understand it in a positive way. In fact, to me, it's only just about defiling the Capitol, destroying the United States, and it is what it is. And so, until those days are gone, I'm going to be saying it, and until we get back to some sort of normalcy, and hopefully, something better can actually come out of this horrible day. Now, just to remind people, this this is what we're talking about. I mean, these are the folks. These are the folks right here. 2 seconds that for some reason are angry, right? That for some reason they're just so angry they have to resort to violence, right? And it's not a new thing for them. They've been violent for a very long time in the history of the United States. They believe in violence. This is them, you know. This is them. This is what it looks like. They're there. This is the mob that ran through and took a shit and threatened to kill Nancy Pelosi. Um, Now let me see here. Also, please, I don't know if folks are subscribed, but do me a favor, subscribe so you can actually show support. And then that way, the chat is kind of going to be open for you. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so there we have it. Now, here we are. You see this picture right here? This is the Capitol, a picture of Jan 6. Brianna Conman. Look, Brian Conman. This guy's name is Conman. Conman, take a look. This is a picture. I don't know if you've seen it before, but this is January 6th, right? This is an actual real photograph, something that really happened. Now, you probably never heard it before, right? I don't know where you're from in the world. If you're an American citizen, if you're a Russian troll, Chinese troll, whatever, Iranian troll, who knows? Or if you're just a dumbass. But this actually really happened. Jan 6, you ever heard of it? You could research it if you like. People violently entered this complex. I mean, they already kicked the police out of position, trampled on them, and the police are fighting for their life to protect the building. They gained access, went through the halls, kicked in Nancy Pelosi's door, tried to kill her, actually tried to hang Mike Pence, took a shit inside of the Capitol. And to a real American, there's going to have to be some get back for that. You don't get to do it without some get back. I know a lot of people think it's normal to do this, but what comes around goes around. Okay? I mean, that's just how the universe works. Now, it's horrible to think about. It's horrible to look at, but that is what it is. This is also what it looks like. You see, this is the East Wing being ripped down. Did you know Trump was a second, third generation immigrant to the United States of America, his family? Do you know they weren't around in the Civil War? Do you know they weren't around in the War of Independence? Do you know a lot of these right wingers, actually their family, Sean Hannity, he really can't understand. He's worried about 1776 and the founding fathers. He's only a second generation American. Did you know this? Did you know this stuff? And these are the right wingers I'm talking about. Left wingers don't normally care what generation you are, but right wingers, when you're a right winger and you're talking like you have sacrificed for the United States of America, it would be nice if it was true, if you really did make a sacrifice. It would be nice if you could say, hey, I've been here for 10 generations. My family has sacrificed. It would be great. But there's a lot of these right wingers, they just simply haven't, and that's what's going on. Now, right now, because of these right wingers, because they don't know the history of America, they don't know their colonial history of America, they can't put two and two together, right? They can't connect the dots with the actual real history of America, the actual real history, not just the US, not just Canada, not just Mexico, not just Central America, but also South America also South America. And they forget that, guess what? Where do they come from? Where do their ancestors come from if their ancestors were around in colonial America? Because a lot of right-wingers' ancestors were not around during colonial America, not around during the Civil War. Actually, a lot of them are recent migrants. Stephen Miller, recent migrant. He came after World War II. His family fled the Nazis, the persecution of the Jews in Eastern Europe. His family fled and came to the United States of America to seek help, to get help from taxpayers like my family. Yes. And today he is speaking down about my family. So fuck Stephen Miller. Really. Stephen Miller, I hope you're out there. You're a piece of shit. Okay? You are a piece of shit. You should really try sacrificing for the country before you try to hurt and attack people in the country, before you hate the country so much, before you hate what the country stands for, and before you hate the people of the country. This man, Stephen Miller, is out there literally right now talking about locking up America like this is Nazi Germany because he doesn't like a political party's legal position. Fuck Stephen Miller. But in any case, if you know anything about American history, you would know there's a Constitution. And you would know If you aren't following the Constitution, you would know you're committing a criminal act. This president that we have doesn't know the Constitution. His administration doesn't know the Constitution, and they commit constant criminal acts. And these are some of the criminal acts that they're committing right now, not just inside of the US, but to our closest neighbors. And it makes no sense at all. Canada, be on guard. Thank you for standing up against Donald Trump, Canada. Thank you very much as fellow Americans, because Canadians are Americans. They're North Americans. They're just one of our neighbors in North America. Thank you, Canada, for not bowing down to Donald Trump and telling Donald Trump to kick rocks. Now, I hope everybody else in America tells Donald Trump to kick rocks, because that's exactly what you're going to have to do if you want to survive this. You're going to have to stand up. And in the United States military, don't take illegal orders. Fuck Donald Trump. Do not take illegal orders, lie, manipulate, rob, steal, fuck him over any chance you get, and Pete Hegseth. They are trying to get you to commit atrocities. They are trying to get you to harm the United States allies. They are trying to get you to commit acts that only an enemy of the United States would want you to do.
Donald Trump used today, enemy from within. I mean, that's Hitler-esque. That is right out of Nazi Germany. That is not constitutional speech. That is not the speech.
Rare to see members. So, Tim, to that end, are there cracks seeming to emerge in the support for Hegseth, and how far could that trickle up with danger in this, not only for the morale in the military, but for all of us Americans?
I think the danger is you have a force that doesn't trust its leader, and it's the force that's responsible for waging our wars, protecting our homeland, and is currently involved in a number of escapades around the globe. It's significant because it's the Washington Times, and it's happening at the same time where Hegseth is trying to consolidate essentially a propaganda machine at the Pentagon. He's removed the Pentagon press corps, unprecedented, dangerous,
I'm in subscriber mode now.
And he's now replacing them with folks like reporters from InfoWars. So he's trying to consolidate his propaganda machine, unify their message, remove any opposition, any questions, because he also knows that the calls are coming from inside the House. These are people who don't trust him, don't believe in him, and people who used to work for him. So I think his chaos and his discombobulation and his incompetence is starting to pile up.
Yeah. So, Tim, to that end, are there cracks?
So let's get to it, General. Senator Lindsey Graham today indicated the president plans to launch land operations inside Venezuela as well as Colombia, saying that Trump will brief Congress when he returns from Asia.
Now, Trump is fucking up Asian policy. He's fucking up the United States policy everywhere in the world. With all trade allies, he's putting allies in danger every day of the week, right? He doesn't know what he's doing. These people are criminals, but they are not serious about government. They are not serious about representing the United States of America. They are not serious about protecting American citizens, and they are not serious about business at all. They're serious about criminality, stealing, hoarding, grifting. That's all it's about. And they mask, of course, like all fascists do, they throw out bigotry to like a little honey trap for ignorant people while they steal the wealth, while they hoard and try to shake down people only for themselves, only for a small few, right? Now, Venezuela, Colombia, they're actually very close to the United States and very significant in the world. The United States could be cooperating with them, with South America, and making loads of profit, actually improving the lifestyle of American citizens. Why? Because they're close to us. That means anything that they have is very quick. It can get to the United States very quickly. Oil, food production, fruit, vegetables, whatever it is, medicine, anything they're manufacturing, anything they're creating. And we actually do need them. We actually do. especially if you fuck up our ties everywhere else in the world, like Asia, like Trump is doing. As you can see, Trump is going around one by one dismantling any relationships that the United States has, even our closest relationships. So Trump has put the United States in more danger than any president in the history of the country. Like literally, the man is sick. The man is sick. And first of all, if you know anything about colonial America, you will know Americans are the same people, even if they're in Colombia, even if they're in Canada. We're literally the same people. We are the same people. Some might speak Portuguese, some might speak French, like in Canada, some might speak English, and some might speak Spanish. And then we have natives, many different native tribes. That is the main composition of these countries. That is what it's built upon. And yet he's attacking everyone like you. So you can't attack Colombia for being Muslims. So there's no Muslim problem there. But you're gonna attack you're gonna attack Colombia anyway. You're gonna attack Venezuela anyway. It's not about It's not about Islamic extremism. No, that excuse doesn't work. At the same time, Trump wants to talk. Oh man, this is so pathetic. At the same time, Trump wants to talk about some Middle East peace treaty. At the same time, he wants to talk about Islamic terrorists. At the same time, he's actually pardoning people that wire money for the same people he's calling terrorists, for Hamas. For what's this the China dude from what's the damn corporation? This guy, oh my God, what is the corporation? The crypto corporation, this guy that Trump just pardoned. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. And Trump is doing it with no shame in front at Binance. I'm sorry, it's Binance. He just pardoned the CEO of Binance, who's been actually funneling money to these same organizations he claims he's fighting. Yo, people are in trouble. United States military, do not take orders from Trump.
There is speculation he intends to topple Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. So here are three questions. What are the implications of the aircraft carrier?
No matter what you think of Venezuelans' politics, of course, there's people on different sides of Venezuelan politics. Venezuela has never attacked the United States of America. Venezuelan people don't hate Americans from other South American countries. They don't hate Americans from North America. What the hell is this about? What the hell is this about?
Sent there. What are your concerns about this escalation without congressional authorization? And what about Trump targeting the president of another nation?
What a trio of questions. Look, this is an unusual situation of dubious legality to use the U.S. Armed Forces in an active confrontation with what essentially is a criminal operation. In the past, we have used federal law enforcement, the DEA in particular, these magnificent men and women of the DEA. We've used the Coast Guard. We've let the court system adjudicate. We've had to collect evidence before we seized or arrested people or material. All that's by the wayside. Congress, as a general statement, does not take part in military operations overseas. They just don't do it. The War Powers Act supposedly would constrain a president. In fact, it almost gives him latitude to conduct operations as he wished. So I don't think this is going to have a major impact on drug smuggling into the United States, for starters. If you really want to cut down on the availability of cocaine, you get Colombia in particular to agree to do aerial eradication of crops. Interdiction is important, but it's only a minor piece of the equation.
What do you think just the interpretation is of sending that aircraft carrier? It's the biggest one in the fleet, the USS Gerald R. Ford. Sending it there to the waters, what's the message with that?
Well, it's hard to tell. I do not believe
The admiral, the head of U.S. Command for South America, stepped down because of this stance that Trump was taking. So Venezuela, Colombia, and everybody in South America, no matter what country you're in, All South Americans, Bolivians, Peruvians, anybody, Chileans, anybody, right? Brazilians, anybody, understand this. American citizens in the United States of America, we love you. And this president does not speak for us. This president is anti-American, anti-US, anti-anybody in America. Just understand that. From one American to another, I'm saying that to you. Please excuse us for Donald J. scamming ass treasonous fucking Trump. Just understand that. Whatever you have to do is whatever you have to do. We don't hold nothing against you, but this man is not about your freedom. And furthermore, all he's trying to do is push nations further into the hands of China. These nations don't want to just trade with one group. They don't want to just be forced left or right. They want to make choices and trade with anybody that wants to deal with them honestly. And Trump is literally trying to force them into a situation. That's what this is about. He's trying to alienate them from the United States. And these are fellow Americans. These are people who's culturally are closer to us than any other people, like straight up.
We will conduct land operations inside Venezuela or Colombia. If we did, it would be incredibly high risk. It would be a stupid move. It would organize support for Maduro, not decrease it.
You see? You see? Now, even the Republicans, ex-Republicans are saying this is some bullshit. What is Trump up to? Like, literally, this is some bullshit. This is backwards in U.S. policy. This is not forward to where the United States was trying to go. This is not forward. We're supposed to be trying to make peace and make better trade arrangements and make better free movement arrangements with fellow Americans. And instead, this dude is acting like they're trying to kill us, acting like they hate us and shit. It's like, what type of American has this much disdain for all Americans? Where does this come from? I mean, it's literally, it shows you Donald J. Trump. Is he even fucking American? Like, are these people, is Stephen Miller even fucking American? What kind of rock have they been living under? It's crazy.
If you go after Colombia, a democratic state, an ally in the past with a leftist president now.
A democratic state, Colombia, an ally of the United States of Colombia, of the United States of America. Colombia is an ally of ours, just like Canada was an ally. Because of Donald J. Trump, he is just putting American citizens in harm's way. In harm's way, because these people have been cooperating. South Americans have been cooperating with the United States of America on security, at least. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. They have been. Even Maduro, you see what I mean? He's not that goddamn crazy. Venezuelans may have an issue about democracy and about this authoritarian rule where a leader keeps holding on to power. Fair enough. I understand that. Nobody, no matter what kind of country you live in, no one should just keep holding on to power. You see what I mean? I don't agree with that. But that's different from plotting to harm American citizens. That's different. Maduro doesn't do that. You see what I mean? And Colombians don't do that. They don't. They don't, straight up. I mean, so and it's not just them in South America. This is terrible.
Have supervised a massive increase in cocaine production. None of these really respond to an aircraft carrier, which is built for lethal warfighting operations in a contested environment. There isn't much of a military left in Venezuela. Militias on the coast is all nonsense.
I mean, look at this ship. Amber Branks. Look, Amber Branks is another troll. Do you work for China? I mean, what is it about me? Do I speak Chinese? No. Have I ever been to China? No. Amber Branks, what about you? But what about the information? I mean, what about this information that you're seeing here being reported on American MSNBC channel? Do they work for the Chinese? Does the U.S. military, what's going on here? These are, if you listen to the information, I mean, I hope you understand English, right? I speak English. But if you listen to the information, they're telling you that the military is fed up with Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, because of this order. Just listen.
So those aren't the tools you use if you're serious about reducing drug production. Now, the legality question is an incredibly complex one. I think in the short run, Trump administration has said we're going to do the same kind of analogy legally that we did on terrorist organizations. Congress has again refused to ask. The Senate could not face up to authorization of the use of military force. So in a vacuum, Trump is acting.
Donald Trump used today, enemy from within. I mean, that's Hitler-esque. That is right out of Nazi Germany. That is not constitutional speech. That is not the speech that we stand for in this country where we believe.
So, Maduro, anybody who's listening from South America, understand American citizens believe that the speech that Donald J. Trump uses is like the speech Hitler used. He is anti-American citizen and he is anti-American, period. North America, South America, Central America. So let's just listen it up again. This is what's being said about Donald J. Trump.
Today, enemy from within. I mean, that's Hitler-esque. That is right out of Nazi Germany. That is not constitutional speech. That is not the speech that we stand for in this country where we believe in the rule of law. And the way that he talks about cities, that cities are full of his enemies. Why? Because they.
So you see, South Americans, Colombians, Venezuelans, Canadians, understand this. The same language that Trump is using towards you is the same language that he's using towards his own countrymen, because he is weak and pathetic. He is corrupt. Yes, he is all up inside of the Epstein files, and he is scared. His administration will not release the Epstein files, and the U.S. will not be clean, will not be on a straight and narrow path again until Americans know exactly what is in those files, because it appears like what is in those files is being used to blackmail Americans, aristocrats, and others, right? So it's obvious. We don't even know if Donald J. Trump is using the information to blackmail other people himself, since he's sitting on it. But other people outside of the United States of America have that information too. And it's obvious they have some information on Trump he doesn't want to be released. So please help us. You can help American citizens by not putting up with Donald J. Trump's bullshit.
They voted for Democrats. They voted blue. And so they have become his enemies. And that he wants to use the military in our cities. The military is designed, and our mission is to, excuse me for saying after 36 years, I still are.
I think you're entitled to own it.
But, after the military is to protect our nation. The military is not to police our nation. And his misuse of the military breaches the very trust that the military has in our civilian leadership. And as for Secretary of Defense Hegseth, the problem he has is that he is completely incompetent. The military and the men and women who were present in that auditorium, whether they were the senior enlisted advisors, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, we value competency. That's what we value. He has not earned his spurs. He has zero experience. He's got great hair. I wish I had his hair. Okay, and I'm sure Michael, you do too.
Oh, yeah.
But
there are days.
But
I mean, the president made a joke looking out at the generals and he said, "Wow, you all look like you just came out of central casting." No, these are people who have studied, who have earned this position, who have seen combat, and that is why they are sitting there. Not because, Michael, they look like they could play.
Rare to see members of the military starting to utilize the channels to seem to get the president's attention, this anonymous reporting. Is there any other?
Thank you to the servicemen of the United States of America, the ones that understand something must be done to stop Donald J. Trump's administration from committing criminal acts against other nations and against American citizens.
Other method that the rank and file, that senior officials could actually use, senior officers, I should say, could use to try to push back on Hegseth's agenda?
Yeah, and I think they're picking their spots. I think folks want to hear generals walking out or resigning their commissions. That's not happening, but they're picking their spots. And the resignation or removal of the head of Southern Command, who oversees Venezuela, is a very significant development, right? That's an example of a pushback or at least a friction point. And I think Tim touches on something else important. Hegseth makes it all about him. And that's what you're not supposed to be. He's not supposed to be the star of this show. Our troops are supposed to be the star of the show. And he continues to put himself in that role. And what I'm hearing from folks who are close to Trump is that Hegseth is actually slowing the president down. Imagine how much farther ahead Trump's agenda would be if Hegseth wasn't screwing up all the time.
You know, the words that Donald Trump used today, enemy from within, I mean, that's Hitler-esque. That is right out of Nazi.
So, Tim, to that end, are there cracks seeming to emerge in this support for Hegseth, and how far could that trickle up? Would the White House at some point say enough is enough?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think this is definitely, in a weird way, this coming out of the Washington Times is something that makes Pete Hegseth more vulnerable than if it would have come from a mainstream outlet. We're in this weird upside-down place. It's kind of like that movie Men in Black, where...
All right, I'm gonna people get the gist of that. The military is basically turning against Trump. You know, and they're doing it in different ways. Some people have been stepping down. Other people are staying in position and doing what they can do to slow this train down. Right. So thank you to those that understand this president is a danger to the United States of America and its allies and its neighbors. Whether you're a political ally or not, he's also a danger to you too. Like, just straight up. You know, he's a danger to you too. Just like a perfect example is Colombia is an ally of the U.S. Venezuela has been on, the U.S. and Venezuela have had, for many reasons, difficulties. However, Donald J. Trump don't give a fuck about either one. You see what I mean? And no matter what political differences we have as Americans, we have to understand we're still Americans. Culturally, historically, we have deep ties together. We can't expect a motherfucker like Donald J. Trump to understand the history of America, to understand the history of colonial America, to understand the lives that were lost, to understand the people that were affected, to understand what it took to actually bring people to where we are today across the Americas. We can't expect him to respect ethnic Americans, Native Americans, or other Americans. You see what I mean? We can't expect him to respect it because he doesn't respect the history. He doesn't respect the present. He doesn't respect anything about the United States of America, and he's willing to harm everybody in the process. Pizza guy, I hear you. But you know what? A lot of it is trolls, bro. So don't even worry about it. The trolls far outnumber the sensible people, right? So trolls aren't real people, right? So, they're real people, but they're not real Americans. They want to see Americans fight. So to you MAGA people out there, to you people that did support Trump, not MAGA, but the people that did support Trump and are starting to wake up, thank you. Straight up, thank you. The people that did support Trump and didn't quite see how ugly he was at first, thank you for at least starting to wake up now. Straight up, as a fellow American, thank you, because it's going to take all of us to stop this train wreck. You can see this man doesn't want you having any benefits from your own tax dollars. Taxation without representation is illegal, number one. Those are our tax dollars. They come out of our pocket. They're supposed to serve us first. Every tax dollar that you pay, no matter if it's state, no matter if it's federal, is supposed to serve the person whose pocket it is leaving. Make no mistake about it. And if it is not, it's taxation without representation in some form. Those tax dollars are supposed to represent the person whose pocket is leaving. You see, and right now they think it's just going to support rich, and billionaires like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. It is dangerous because not only are you funding Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, but they actually want to enslave you. At the same time, you're funding your own enslaver. I mean, listen, if you have not gone, if your family, if you're an American citizen and your family has not gone through slavery in the United States of America or the Americas, this might be your time right now. This might be your time right now, and you're just too stupid to realize it. See, people that have family members that have gone through slavery, we know what the fuck slavery is. And we know what it looks like in real core terms, what it is. The extraction of someone's wealth from their own labor and putting it in someone else's pocket who does not ever want them to be free, who does not ever want them to benefit from their own labor. That's the situation Americans are in right now. And it doesn't matter what your color is today. You're in the slavery situation if you don't wake up. So yes, but let's move on here. Now, a lot of people don't really know what the significance of South America is, or even Colombia. Since we're going to attack Colombia, or we're going to attack our fellow neighbors, this is just an idea, gives you a basic idea of what we could be doing better and why we could be doing it. Because South America is rich in mineral resources. They're rich in plant life, in animal life. Trade, one of the key factors to trade is how much you pay for transport. The further away it is, the more you pay because you're paying an extra fee for transport, right? Even if you want to help someone else develop, you're paying an extra fee to transport your development tools to them. So the further you go, the less you really get. You know, there's a change there. Now, maybe not less. You might be able to factor it out between the certain things, but between some certain elements there. But it doesn't change the fact that South America is rich in resources and is our neighbor. What would it be like, the world, if we had better trade relations with them and we respected them as United States of Americans? What would be the difference? Let's see.
And yes, the United States could benefit significantly from increasing trade ties with South America. Let's unpack it clearly. 1. Economic and strategic rationale. Proximity equals lower costs. Yes, trading with geographically closer regions like South America can save money. Lower shipping and transport costs. Cargo from Brazil or Colombia can reach Miami or Houston in days, not weeks, compared to China or Europe. Reduced fuel and logistics costs per ton of goods moved. Faster supply chains, shorter distance.
Now think about this. Think about this. It's closer than Europe even. It's closer. And here's the thing. Trump is doing what? Think about this. Just think about this. Trump already has attacked Europe. Trump has already attacked Canada. Trump has already attacked Asian allies. Trump is basically breaking all U.S. relations. And yet now he's going after the people closest to us, the closest, even closer with even more mineral resources, with even not just mineral, but all types of shit that we have issues with in the U.S. Just think about what that means strategically. Just think about that. This man has attacked every single tie, every single thing that we benefit from already and could benefit more with or need for security or for whatever reasons, economic reasons, security reasons, for whatever reasons, trade reasons, whatever reasons. This man has systematically gone one by one and attacked all aspects of that. And now he's picking on South Americans who have actually been our fucking allies, who actually have security deals with us. It's like just at least agreements to not harbor terrorists who want to hurt us. Things like this. Like, this is ridiculous, man. I'm sorry.
Reduced fing and transport costs. But yes, trading with geographically closer regions like South America can save money. Lower shipping and transport costs. Cargo from Brazil or Colombia can reach Miami or Houston in days, not weeks, compared to China or Europe. Reduced fuel and logistics costs per ton of goods moved. Faster supply chains, shorter distances mean less exposure to global shipping delays or disruptions like the Suez Canal block or war-related detours. Environmental benefit. shorter routes equals smaller carbon footprint. This could make north-south supply chains more efficient than current east-west trade patterns. Number 2. Economic opportunities and potential new profits. Here are several sectors where the US could profit by deepening trade and partnerships with South America. A. Energy and critical minerals. South America holds massive reserves of lithium, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, crucial for EV batteries. US investment and tech partnerships could replace reliance on China for battery supply chains. Example, a US...
Now you hear that? You hear that, right? So while we're busy buying batteries from China, we're attacking the very place China goes to get its lithium. And these are our neighbors. Do you understand this? You see how crazy this is?
US-Chile lithium refining venture could generate billions in new exports and create domestic jobs in EV battery assembly. B. Agriculture and food trade. The US and Brazil already trade heavily in soybeans, corn, and beef, but joint investment in food processing, tech, and sustainable farming could expand margins on both sides. South America's growing middle class creates markets for US agricultural equipment, fertilizers, and food technology. C. Infrastructure and construction. Latin America needs over $150 billion a year in new infrastructure, roads, ports, renewable energy. US. Firms could win contracts and export materials and expertise, particularly as alternatives to China's Belt and Road projects. That D. Technology and digital services. South America's internet economy is booming, e.g. Brazil's fintech scene, Argentina's software exports. US tech companies can form joint ventures, expand cloud services, and build regional data centers, much cheaper than building in Asia or Europe. E. Manufacturing nearshoring. US companies could relocate manufacturing from Asia to Latin America, e.g.
Now, just understand this. It's fine to work with allies. And also positioning has a lot of factors. It's what you're trading, but also what you can share in defense, how you can help others defend the people you trade with, how you can help them defend themselves. So, trade with Europe is a good thing. If it's going to help defend the United States of America too, then it's a win-win situation. Trade with anybody is good. And if they need help with defense, that's a good thing too, because then it's a win-win. It's you're dealing with more levels of trade, right? You have to secure your trade. And if what happens to another affects your economy, you might want to be concerned about their safety too. But the crazy thing is that we're not even doing, even though the Trump administration criticizes the EU, we're not even doing anything better with the people we could be doing something better with. You understand what I'm getting at? So the trade allies we already have, Trump is fucking up, and he's not even trying to improve trade relations with those who are closest to us. It makes no sense. This man can only be about hurting Americans. I'm telling you. And anything that happens on his watch, a war, it was only designed to hurt Americans, American citizens, or other type of Americans. Anything that happens, any economic danger, it's all designed. Everything he does is only designed to hurt the Americans, the United States, first and foremost, and anybody else in proximity to us. Really, that's how I see the math. The man has not helped at all.
E.g. Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, cuts transit time to US markets and reduces exposure to geopolitical tensions with China. Example, an appliance factory in Mexico or Colombia could deliver to US stores within 48 to 72 hours. Number 3, broader economic and political benefits. Trade diversification reduces dependence on China and Europe. Regional stability, economic cooperation strengthens democracy and reduces migration pressures. Energy independence. South America is rich in renewables, hydro, wind, solar, and traditional fuels, oil, gas, lithium. Number 4, potential profit example. Sector example project est annual US profit, additional benefits. Lithium and EV batteries, US-Chile refining.
Right. So the gist of it is that there's way more profit and way more sustainability working with South America than attacking them. Very simple. Colombia, Venezuela, either one of them. I mean, what happens to them, it affects us. What happens to us, it affects them. You see, and when you are a strong nation like the United States of America, you have to show way better leadership for things to work out well. You can't just make these kind of mistakes that Trump is making, because the mistakes he's making are mistakes attacking our own allies, people most like us. That is insane. And it just makes no sense. And meanwhile, while he's out there, this is all he has to say about it. Keep this in mind. He's talking about fellow Americans. He's talking about people whose culture is closer to U.S. American citizens than anyone else. Again, he's not talking about Islamic extremists. He's not talking about terrorists, really. He's not. He doesn't even know who he's killing. Look, this is how he's talking.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay?
Okay, so you got to understand one thing. The United States is the #1 market for cocaine, what he's talking about. Europe is the second market. Why? Why is that? It's because these people like buying it. That is literally what it is. So what is the failure of the United States when dealing with the drug epidemic? No matter what drug it is. Rehabilitation, investing in rehabilitation, the United States has not been that great in. No. Have you heard Trump say anything about rehabilitation? No. He's just going down the 1990s, 1980s Ronald Reagan path, thinking you can burn up everything, thinking you can just blow shit up and that's going to work. Not when the people who want the shit is your own people. Why? Because your own people are playing a major role in getting those things. They are selling it to us. Once it gets to the border, an American citizen is taking it and distributing it. That is what's really happening. Now, if you want to stop production of cocaine in anywhere in America, guess what you can do better? You can actually help with the things that I just mentioned. Infrastructure. That's what you can do. These things, goods, farming tools, technology, farming technology, so that these farmers can actually make a living. Because guess who is actually doing this? Guess what other plant is growing successfully in the same area that the coca leaf grows in? Coffee beans. So listen, you can't just go around burning up coca leaves. You can't, and you also don't want to use things that are going to hurt coffee production. So it's not that simple. But what you can do is help people make a decent wage, help people with farming production, help revolutionize these things, help with technology that can help them and stabilize things, and that's the problem. This is a greed issue. This is literally a greed issue, and if you don't address the greed involved, if you don't address the other reasons why people partake in distribution of drugs, even in the US, if you don't endeavor in why do people use drugs, if you don't endeavor yourself as the most powerful nation on earth in figuring out those things, if you don't invest in working on that side of the issue, you can never stop. Thinking you're going to stop cocaine is retarded. That makes no sense. That's like thinking you're going to stop water. What the fuck? It grows. It's a plant. Water is natural. You can't stop it. It's part of the earth cycle. Plants, you can't stop either. By the way, the United States corporations, companies could make way more money dealing with Colombia and Venezuela and some other countries and pharmaceutical products. They could. And I'm not talking about, in a way that doesn't produce jobs in the U.S. No, in a way that helps produce more jobs. But you could see our companies to make money. They don't actually want to service the vast amount of Americans, the pharmaceutical companies. No, they want to make as much money off the population while serving the least amount of American citizens. That's a backwards approach. So there's a whole lot we could be doing inside of our country to solve these problems without even interacting, and keep in mind, Trump said, he ran on the platform saying, stop these foreign wars. This mother effer is trying to create foreign wars. That's all he's doing. Look, someone said here, Israel has ruined, Zara Bonda says Israel has ruined and caused so much harm on earth. Well, I don't know about this harm on earth, but I do know they have helped devastate Palestinian people's lives for definitely sure. I'm not into making anybody into the almighty anything. Not for any way. In my mind, there's no almighty bad on this earth. There's not one almighty bad thing. There's multiple ones. And, so in that kind of thinking, I would just, I try to keep the context to Israel and Palestinian people. Is it a fact that Israel could have done much better with this to foster good relations with Palestinian people? Yes. Very simple answer. Is it more that the United States could be doing right now and should have done possibly to help solve this problem? Yes. Yeah, I think so too. I think everybody could have done more to help solve this problem. I think Arab nations could have done more to solve this problem. And I really feel sorry for Palestinians because I don't see this so ideological, even though a lot of people on the ground see it ideologically. But I see that Palestinian issue. I'm glad you brought this up, by the way. But I see this Palestinian issue as being a trade-induced issue. Russia and the United States have always competed over trade in the Middle East. Now it's turned into an issue with China. So that's, sped up that urgency. And I think Palestinian people are the victims of that because at the same time, this destruction of Palestine is happening and this colonization of Palestine is happening. The reason why other nations in the Middle East go along with it is because of trade. They're involved in a trade route together with Israel. They're involved in security deals together with Israel. And so they're accomplices also. So we have all types of accomplices to this destruction of Palestine. And what I would just say to Palestinian people is that basically you're the last anybody's thinking about. It's about money. It's about trade. And you are the last person that anybody else is thinking about. And I think you see the results of that. I think you know that very, very clear. And I wish people would, really get to the root of this issue of it being trade and security and get off of the ideological parts about it. But having said that, I think Netanyahu has fucked up a lot. I think he's an authoritarian. And I also think that Israel's posture, even though they make the claim that they're defending themselves from attacks, I think Russia has played a big role in funding groups that have attacked Israel also. That hasn't helped. But at the end of the day, it's your history, Israel. It's your survival, Israel. Do you really think you can survive with this kind of posture towards these people? It's insane. That just makes no sense to me. We need better peacemakers. We need better people, men and women that know how to look each other in the eye and do what's right, have ethics beyond what bloodshed has happened. Both groups need to want a future for each other. Israel, if you don't want a future for Palestine, you are making crazy decisions. And I think Israelis need to understand if they don't take a stake in making sure there's a future for Palestinians, that is their own demise. So enough said on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. But who said this? What is this comment? If life wasn't so stressful here, less would use to escape. Maybe where you from, by the way, Edgio? Let me know where you're from too. Yeah, some of y'all, if you've never been in the chat, let me know where you're from in the world. By the way, I have a lot of Americans that listen, about 65%, but then I got a lot of people outside of the U.S. that listen to, from the EU, from the Middle East, from Asia, Africa, Australia, all over actually. So big up to the audience. I just wanted to chime in today just to talk to folks about this thing with Colombia and with Venezuela, and try to appeal to let people know, any Colombians listening, any South Americans listening, just understand very clearly, the majority of American citizens do not stand behind what Trump is doing, period. You got to understand that he does not speak for American people. Just understand that. Anybody, just everybody around the world understand that. Donald J. Trump and this regime do not speak for the American people. And most American people feel like they are the enemies of even the American people. Like, we feel like they are traitors. And you could see every day, because this man is out there sending the military against us, his own population. At the same time, he's trying to attack other people, So I just want y'all to know that, like, most Americans aren't interested in anything Trump is doing. We think he's made things worse, but maybe it's for the better, because maybe things had to get worse before things will get better. But who knows? That's philosophy for you. Who knows? It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. But I do know one thing. It's going to take people that have a large understanding of the data and how people are interconnected to do better, right? To do better with trade, to do better with security. And it's going to take a lot more support for human rights, a lot more support for people to just know that, hey, man, folks have to have freedom of speech. People in countries have to know that they have the right to speak their mind, because their own ancestors fought for the freedom of everybody. And so denying their speech is denying the history of the people, So, yeah, but let me see. On that note, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for coming out and listening. I hope you all have a good beginning to your week. Also, this is some of the little top news stories that came out just in the last 24 hours. There we go. Free speech, arresting journalists. I mean, it's looking so bad right now. There is one good thing. There is one good thing that happened. Sorry about that. Let me pull this up. Mamdani, the mayoral candidate, his name is what? Mamdani? Here it is. Let me see here.
China's president.
He actually got the nomination
here in New York, which began today.
Of Hakeem Jeffries. So let's listen to that.
Many wanted to know why you had waited late. I have known you for 20 years or more, and you've always been deliberate and strategic. And you said that you may not agree on everything, but all of us are concerned about the rise in bigotry toward some of the immigrants, the anti-Semitism you raised nationwide on the rise, and Islamophobia. Some of the Islamophobia I've heard in this race is startling. But why did you think it's important to take your time with this decision, Congressman?
Him receiving the Democratic nomination. So I wanted to be able to sit down, have some conversations. There are areas of agreement that we've talked about, certainly on affordability and the need, in my view, to make sure that we deal with it decisively. That also includes, by the way, dealing with the supply and demand challenge. The demand for affordable housing in New York City and across the country greatly exceeds the supply. And so the only way for us to decisively address this issue is to build our way out of it. And that's going to require public-private partnerships moving forward, something that I will lean into as it relates to, the mayoralty moving forward. But also this is an important decision, as is every important decision. But the last few weeks, of course, Rev, I've been fully immersed in pushing back against the Trump administration and the Republicans who have shut down the federal government. They're depriving hardworking federal employees of their paychecks, either forcing them to work without pay or furloughing them. And this from an administration that's been targeting federal employees, having fired about 200,000 prior to the start of the government shutdown. And that type of extremism has, of course, continued. So
let's get into that. Let's get into that, because that's something I really want to talk to you about. We're in the 25th day of this government shutdown, and more than 1 million federal workers are going unpaid, many of them missing their first full paychecks yesterday. And the Pentagon says it just took a $130 million donation from a private donor to pay our troops. Where do negotiations to end this shutdown stand right now, Congressman?
Well, unfortunately, in day 25, what we've seen is that Donald Trump has shown zero interest, and Republicans have shown zero interest in reopening the government. Our view from the beginning, Leader Schumer, Senate Democrats, House Democrats, we've all made clear that we will sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, either at the Capitol or back at the White House, to negotiate a bipartisan agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people. But at the same time, we have to decisively address the Republican health care crisis, because it is crushing everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans. And Rev, this is in an environment where Republicans have enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripping health insurance away from more than 14 million Americans. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all throughout the country, including in rural America. They are possibly going to bring to the country the largest cut to Medicare, $536 billion by the end of the year if Congress doesn't act, in our country's history. And now they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, resulting in premiums going up on tens of millions of Americans. And open enrollment is going to be upon us in about a week from today on November 1st. That requires decisive action, and that's been a consistent position that Democrats have.
Now, for a lot of Americans, MAGA people too, fuck MAGA people, Republicans, because Republicans need to get back to at least being Republican, because this MAGA shit is just a suicide cult. But the reality of it is that because people blindly supported Trump and the Republican Party, just they focused more on rhetoric, rhetorical statements like immigrants, this kind of thing. They didn't focus on any comprehensive understanding of economy, healthcare system for one, jobs, these kind of things. They didn't care about that kind of stuff. They didn't require the Republican Party to bring anything else to the table besides attack immigrants. And now the country is paying for it, because this big, beautiful bill, all it did was gut social services across the board. And this is all your tax money. They cut all the programs funded by your tax money, and they're not even giving you a tax break. They didn't say you shouldn't keep paying taxes. No, they're saying keep paying taxes, because guess who's going to get the biggest share of that money? The billionaires. So they're literally expecting you to subsidize billionaires instead of your own food subsidy programs, your own education, your own healthcare. They don't want you subsidizing your own healthcare with your own tax dollars. They don't want you subsidizing housing with your own tax dollars, mixed housing, new housing developments. They don't want you doing that with your own tax dollars. They just want to go into the billionaires. This is the problem. If the Democrats stop, if the Democrats do what the Republicans are asking them to do, you're fucked either way. You're fucked right now. And if the Democrats cave in on health care and what they're demanding, you will be fucked even more. That is the problem. And that's really, really sad that people that supported Donald J. Trump didn't realize that, didn't do enough research. only cared about immigrant, even though immigrants are bringing more to our economy than they're taking away. That makes no sense, and Americans are suffering for that decision that they made with Donald J. Trump, and you're about to suffer some more. Like, remember, this is only 8 months in. You haven't seen the worst of it yet. And a lot of Americans, you don't be confused by this troll activity, because the trolls are acting like everything is perfect. Yo, we're going to find out on November 1st how people like it. Because if the Democrats cave in, you're going to wish that they didn't. Because what they would be caving into is your own destruction anyway. Like, straight up. So, and thank God I'm an American citizen who lives outside of the United States of America, because I got to tell you, American citizens, as an American citizen, I got to tell you, other countries in the West are not treating their own people this way. They're just not.
Over the last several weeks.
Now, President Trump is in Europe.
Yeah.
Democratic leader.
So there you go, folks. I'm out. I just wanted to chime in today and say what's up to folks, and thank you also for your support. This last month, I got something like maybe 3,000 new subscribers. The last couple months, I've been doing like 1 million views, up to 2 million views a month. I appreciate that a lot. I do understand the importance of me being an American citizen living outside of the U.S., being able to bring some kind of context back, being able to explain some of the differences, so that American citizens have some qualifiers, not just raw data, raw numbers, but qualifying data also from other American citizens that can bring some different perspective in case the normal news is not doing it for you, in case you think legacy media is not filling in all the gaps. I know that matters when you're doing podcasts. I know that those that triangulation means a lot for the listeners. So I'm here to do that for you. And I appreciate the support so much. Wow. The last thing that I wanted to say is just understand that you can stop all of this today by going down to Congress and telling them, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get in these Republican congressional members' asses. And because the voters, I'm talking about the MAGA people, the red people, you made a mistake in supporting Donald J. Trump, because Donald J. Trump is going to be fucking you all over, just like he's fucking over the farmers. I mean, this man is it's just on and on and on and on and on with Trump. Like, what person has he not harmed? Trump has farmers coming out being like, God damn, man, you destroyed the soybean industry. You destroyed it. And yes, Democrats would have never done that. Democrats would have never gone after the farmers, like that. But for some reason, Trump feels like he could do that because you guys didn't stand up to him. Like, you all didn't stand up to him. You let him know that he could do anything that he wanted to you, and he's doing it. You let Trump know that you have blind faith, and that is a dangerous thing to give a man like Donald Trump. That is very, very dangerous. But people gave it to him, and they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it totally. And you better hope that Democrats find a way to get the United States out of this situation, because Trump has made anything that's possible to make bad. He has made it bad, and it is going to come around pretty soon. It's 8 months. There's not weeks left. There's only a few weeks left, but there's not much time left until you begin to feel the serious effects of what he's been up to. And it's just horrific, man. I'm really sad for the U.S. right now. I'm really, really sad, but it is what it is, and there's nothing that can be done about it. I can't do more about it from where I'm at. I'm not in the U.S. right now. Um, yeah, and I wish hit the respect button, even if you disagree. Good karma. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should come back to vote as well. We need every vote to fix the country. I vote from abroad, man. I vote I vote from here. But just like all military that are stationed outside of the U.S. do, we vote from abroad. All U.S. Governmental workers that live abroad vote from abroad, and all U.S. citizens that live abroad vote from abroad. And yeah, and here's what I mean by this kind of funny troll. I don't know if this is what country this is from, but I can tell by how people write. Here's a good example of trolls, you all. Why would you think everyone wants to live on welfare and subsidies? I don't know. Who thinks that? I never thought that. Who thinks that out there? I never thought that. And I'm curious, like, why would anyone who watches the news think that someone thinks that? That's a real weird thing. But nonetheless, I can see that that's a troll, because that is just ignorant. That's not even a serious question, right? So, but that just gives you the example, like American citizens, Republicans, MAGA people, don't let these trolls confuse you. And that, I'm gonna tell you, what was behind a lot of this September, not September, January 6th stuff. What was behind a lot of it was actually trolls. Really trolls. This whole Arab Spring, it came to the U.S. That's really what's behind it. And people need to, put the dots together and just admit that, yeah, that's how you got fooled. A lot of online trolling from Russian bots or from Russian troll farms where they pay people like a penny an hour. That's what produced this. That's what helped Donald Trump. That's what Donald Trump worked with. Donald Trump likely knew that they were helping him do this. And, folks have to learn how to read between the lines when you get your information. You need to know how to decipher the difference between disinformation and actual factual information. A real American from a troll. Because if you rely on just anything you see on social media, that's what happened in this last election. People are thinking things about Kamala Harris. There was people talking about Kamala Harris trying to say that her granddaddy or great granddaddy was a slave master. How could people even say that? There's no facts to that. That's totally untrue. Then people were trying to say that, just like they tried to say Obama doesn't have a birth certificate. They're feeding on ignorance of American citizens, and it's very tactical. For those of you that don't know, Hawaii is part of the United States of America, and all regions of America have never done birth certificates or documented birth the same way. Even in places like in the 1960s or 50s, you get all kinds of fucking birth certificates coming out of U.S. states. They weren't unilateral for people of that age group. That's just all something, that's just facts. That's just something you need to know. But so many Americans are so stupid about their own country, they didn't even know that. So they could just be fooled by a comment like that. It is so crazy. It is so crazy to see that. And it's one thing to be confused by that once, but to keep being confused by that, that's your problem. That is a real problem. Yeah, corporate welfare and subsidies for big oil. Yeah, exactly. Is big oil getting the subsidies? They're getting money from American payers' tax dollars. And but instead, they don't want to use the same money to subsidize housing, subsidize education, subsidize food programs, subsidize child care for people that work and have jobs, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. It's like when things get bad for the middle class, the government is supposed to step in, because the middle class is driving the economy. Make no mistake about it. Wealthy people don't drive the economy. Middle class people do, because they're doing all the work. You see, it's just crazy that Americans don't understand that. Every other Western nation understands that the middle class that things have to work for the middle class, for things to work for the country. Okay, someone has to pay the payroll taxes. And if they have no money, they can't pay it. If they don't have a job, they can't pay it. If they don't have adequate housing, they can't pay it. If they don't have access to decent childcare, they can't work and they can't pay it. You know, it's just so idiotic to have to, you know, to know that so many Americans don't even know that. You know, it's beyond my understanding, to be honest with you. I don't even think it's a matter of access to schools to know these things. It's just a issue with wanting to know. A lot of Americans are living in places where they're lazy, not applying themselves, are not aware of what's going on in their own country, are not aware of what's going on in the world at all. And people like Donald Trump don't help folks like that. And that's something people need to just understand. You know, Trump voters need to understand he's not there to help you.
Among the MAGAs, a lack of education is common, leading to a limited understanding of the world around them. This undereducation fuels their reliance on misinformation and conspiracy theories as they struggle to differentiate fact from fiction in their environment.
Facts. That is total
Among
facts.
the MAGAs, a lack of education is common, leading to a limited understanding of the world around them. This undereducation fuels their reliance on misinformation and conspiracy theories as they struggle to differentiate fact from fiction in their environment.
Yeah, and this type of ignorance is what hurts the country the most, you know, because they don't know how ignorant they are. You know, they don't know. I mean, just keep this in mind. And I want every American who's being affected by the shutdown to think about this. You're going to be you would be more affected if the Democrats cave in. Trust me, because what is in that big, beautiful, ugly bill is your demise anyway. So the Democrats don't have any choice but to hold out until Republicans come to the bargaining table. But having said that, keep in mind the people that built these buildings, a lot of them didn't get a check, didn't get paid. This building that you're looking at, a large percentage of the labor force were actually African American slaves. So just keep that in mind when you think about what you're sacrificing. You know, keep in mind that when you think about how hard things are, understand this. The shutdown is better than moving along with what the Republican Party had in store, because what they have in store is even worse. If the Republican Party does not concede to the Democrat demands, you're fucked anyway. You are economically fucked. Like starting from red states all the way over to the blue states. And this is something that MAGA voters, they need to get into their mind and understand that's what's going on. Service people, understand, if these folks don't even care about the buildings that free labor helped produce, why would he give a fuck about the labor of people that get paid? Just think about that. If you don't even have a respect for the things that people made and contributed to as slaves to your country, why would you have a respect for the people you paid to contribute to? Just think about that. And when you look at this picture, just understand this is one of the examples. They don't know the United States of America. They don't. Why would you respect a person you pay for labor more if you don't even respect a person you don't pay? Just think about that. Just think about that. Are you getting a tax break? Is Trump giving you a tax break? Nope, he wants you to keep on paying your taxes while he's gutting your SNAP programs in that big, beautiful bill that's coming up. Yep. So either way, you know, you should be very supportive of the Democrats right now trying to renegotiate that big, beautiful bill, because that big, beautiful bill is going to hit these people right here in this video the hardest.
Among the MAGAs, a lack of education is common, leading to a limited understanding of the world around them. This undereducation fuels their reliance on misinformation and conspiracy theories as they struggle to differentiate fact from fiction in their environment.
They struggle to understand and differentiate fact from fiction. And that's going to be definitely the demise of the United States of America if these people, if the Democrats cave in to Republicans. It's going to be the demise. And you're living on borrowed time right now, American citizens. Your only problem is not this little month, this month of not getting paid. That's definitely not your biggest problem you're approaching. It's not. And it sounds really strange, but that is the choice that your country has left you. That's the real choice that Donald Trump has chosen to put the country in. He told Republicans to not negotiate with Democrats. You gave the Republican Party control over the House, the Senate, the White House, and the Supreme Court. So if they had anything wonderful in store for you, MAGA people, or anyone else, they would be doing it. They don't even need Democrats. Like, they just don't. And so on that note, I hope that the Republican Party learns to have a little more compassion for American citizens. I hope that they go back, review American history properly, and learn to have some respect for America and Americans, the macro and the micro. I hope that they have figured out that bending the law for billionaires is not what a patriot does. Yeah. And whatever else they want to do, yeah. So on that note, I'm out. I appreciate y'all. Be good. I'll be back with you guys in the next 24 hours. I've been a little slow the last couple of days, but I've just been relaxing on my day off and I had some stuff to do. But I appreciate everybody for coming out and the continued support. I hope everybody has a great start to the week. I really hate seeing the U.S. in this situation. I hate seeing American citizens in this situation. I have empathy, but understand this. The ball is in the Republican Party's court. And if you are fearful of not getting another check, if you are fearful of getting kicked out of your home, if you are fearful of losing your job, if you are fearful of losing your farm, if you are fearful of starving, you need to be going down to the Republican National building, to the House, Republican representatives. You need to be going down to the White House, where Donald J. Trump just knocked over the East Wing without saying anything while lying to the American people. You need to confront these people really fast before you have nothing left. So in any case, I'm out, y'all. Appreciate it. Peace. Release the Epstein files.
They want more crime babies looking for recipe. People subdued when the people you trust got an word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score.
This morning, President Trump's Commerce Secretary is speaking out about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Howard Lutnick, who once lived next door to Epstein, telling a New York Post podcast Epstein once gave him a tour of his home.
I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage?